never stop at one. I'll take you all on.
At least I'll have the satisfaction of destroying you, Optimus Prime.
You can't remember my name.
The weak shall perish?
Do not believe everything you read.
Hello everyone, I'm Cyberverse Prime, and I'm very, very happy to finally give you guys the Transformers Dark in the Moon Studio Series reviews. So, as I promised, I was going to start doing Dark in the Moon stuff after I reviewed a little bit of G1, and now that that's over, don't worry, we are going to go back to some G1 because it's just right now, with it being basically the end of June by the time of this recording, and next week as well. Next weekend will definitely be the beginning of July. So I wanted to take the time to, I wanted to take the time to do some Studio Series stuff. Because, you know, Transformers Dark in the Moon came out 15 years ago. Pretty soon, July 1st, 2011. And I am very excited for these upcoming reviews. Because my Studio Series collection is pretty cool. I have almost every figure from Dark in the Moon. I think I have almost every single one. If I don't, I'm sure there's probably like a repaint or something that I'm missing. I know that I'm missing the ride version of this. The ride version of this I did purchase, but I sent that to my best buddy Megatron. So, and he still has it to this day, and I'm very thankful that he does, because it's a really cool repaint, and this is an awesome figure. Now, let's get into the basics. The one thing that I did not like about this figure when I first got him was the fact that you couldn't turn the trailer anymore. I kind of had a feeling that wasn't going to be a feature on this, but it would have been cool if the engineers could have designed it that way. And another thing is, he is incredibly hollow underneath. Most of the robot is back here at the back of the trailer, and basically the cab is what turns into his feet. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess of a transformer, but to be fair, I think this and the Dark of the Moon Voyager Megatron are still pretty good for what Hasbro have done in the past. The main things that I think are cool in the Studio Series is the alt mode. I think it's cool that they got rid of the rubber cloth, and they actually gave him an actual cloth piece. These ropes are actually supposed to be chains. It would have been cooler if they were actual chains, but that would have been more money. And then the other thing that so that's one thing that I'm okay with. This I'm not okay with. I hate that these are rubber. Because over time, these are going to warp, and mine is already warped. So I'm very scared of these, decaying and falling off, and then the figure is basically ruined. So there are a few things on this that I think could have been prevented, but I get why these are rubber and these are rubber. I mean, these are fine. These aren't that bad, but these, that's pretty crap, to be totally honest. And the other thing is, if you don't transform this section right here, if you've seen videos in the past, this becomes his chest. If you don't transform that properly, he won't roll. I mean, he already kind of doesn't roll because the wheels, none of them are pinned. They're all clip-ons, so he already doesn't roll very well. And I'm basically just trying to get all of my nitpicks out of the way before I get into the positives. But, I can't really say that this is a terrible figure from what others have said. Wait, is that broke? Is that a? Oh, okay. That's supposed to be there. I saw this like line right here, and I was like, oh no. I hope that's not broke. No, no, no. That's not broken. That's actually part of the sculpting. So, woo. Okay. I was about to say, because this is a pretty rare figure. This is hard to get now. Anyway, so yeah, he turns into the Mac tanker truck that we saw in Dark of the Moon. And honestly, it was funny. When I first got this, I immediately sold off my Voyager. And that was dumb, but then I got the Takara Chronicles 2-pack version, and I'm much happier with that. But anyway, let's get into the nitty-gritty with this guy. Comes with a couple accessories. Here we have Igor. His ugly ass. So, there he is. I think this is a cool accessory. I just wish that he came with like his walking cane or whatever that he had in the film. But I think that only appeared in the DC scene where he was walking up the steps to the Lincoln Memorial. So, yeah, that's Igor. And then, like I said, the chains here are pretty cool. They are held on by these little clips. If you can see that, they are held on by clips. And all you have to do to remove it is just undo the ropes here. On each side. Sorry if I'm not showing it off correctly, but I'm doing the best that I can. Oh, popped up. Come on. There you go. And there you go. And then you remove this, and there you have his cloak and his chains that will go over his chest. So, that's pretty cool. That's not all of his accessories. He does come with his signature shotgun that he used in the film, which is super cool. I think the sculpting on this is really cool on this side. Then you get to this side, there is nothing. Yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment. They basically did their job at halftime. So, yeah, you got half a gun. Yay. Oh, boy. But there are upgrade kits that you can buy to give Megs an upgraded weapon. Oh, yeah, there is paint scuffing on mine. That is due to overtime and wear of, taking the figure, plugging this into his hand and then taking it out. That's overtime. That's not immediately right out of the box. If you have this guy, or you found him new in box for a good price. Anyway, so with all those accessories set to the side, I don't really have any alt mode comparisons with me. Here's Dark of the Moon Prime's trailer. So, trailer to trailer, that's probably about right. And then if Optimus was here in alt mode, I would say they would probably be about the same length, but Optimus might be a smidge longer or so, or maybe the same length due to the spikes here. So I would say Hasbro Takara did an extremely good job on both this Megatron and this Optimus. And I do have the DNA kit attached to this Optimus. I did a review on that years ago, and finally I'll be able to update that review. That review's terrible. But anyway, yeah. So Megatron in his truck mode looks pretty good, and with all of his accessories removed, I guess it's time to transform him. So what I like to do is go ahead and pop this up, then come here and pop these loose, fold these back, and then I like to go ahead and get this somewhat out of the way, rotate the hands down. Well, they are kind of in the way, so I gotta do that. Next, what I like to do is go ahead and fold in the wheels, and then take this piece here and rotate that down. Take this piece, rotate that down, and that becomes this will become his feet, and I will show you how. Go ahead and split this whole. You want to come here to this section, and it's on one of those sliding joints. So you want to make sure that you don't break that. You don't want to, pull on it because then you're going to break the tab. You want to make sure that you lift it up and then separate it. All right. So to show you the transformation, since this you notice that this is on a swivel. So this is going to swivel up around like this, and it'll stay there. Then you're going to take this panel here and flip it up like that. Flip this around. Then you're going to come here to this part, flip this out, flip this around. And you're going to take this part here. Did I do something off? Did I do something wrong here? I probably did. Probably did something too early. Oh, no, I didn't. You're going to take that, slide that there, and then collapse all of this together. And then you're going to rotate this whole section here like that. Then rotate the foot down, and that is his whole shin. Like, that's one of his legs. All of this is like a leader class Revenge of the Fallen Optimus thing, where the whole like part here of the truck becomes his leg. And it kind of reminds me of Revenge of the Fallen Prime, where the whole grill section became his feet, and the legs kind of, you know what I mean? Like, his legs basically became the whole chassis of the truck on that figure. It's just, oh, I love that Optimus. But anyway, same thing on this side. Rotate this, and then fold this up. Take this part here, fold that up, take it here, rotate it like that, and then collapse everything together. Rotate the foot down, position the foot how you want it, and then there are Megatron's feet all ready to go. I hope that was helpful or understandable. Alright, now we're getting to the back half of the truck, the whole trailer. So, I'm going to lift this up. This part is fairly tricky because you want to untab these, because there's half a tab on each end and they go into the slot right here. So what you want to do is take these guys, get them out of the way as much as you can. You want to get the arms out of the way. The arms here are kind of trapped under here, so you got to move these out just like that. Oh, come on. Shift them out. These are going to fold kind of over the rear wheels because they're on that double hinge. So these are going to fold over just like that. These are going to flip back up. They don't like to stay tabbed in or nothing. Then you're going to take these pieces and rotate them like that. And push them into his arm. Just like that. And then now we're getting to the final steps. You want to rotate his head up just like that. Then you want to take this section here, collapse that into his upper torso, unfold the chest. Oh man. And then with his legs, you kind of gotta star scream him. Yeah, give him the chicken legs or whatever. That way he's more proportionate. So there's that. It looks weird as shit, but it does make it look a little bit better. And I can't remember if he actually looked like this in the film. I could be wrong, but I don't remember. Collapse. No. Tab. There are 2 tabs right here where my finger is. And there are these 2 slots right here. So line that up. Oh. And peg that in. They just kind of soft tab in there. I thought there was a click to them. Like I said, it's been a while since I transformed this guy. So, collapse that. And then, with his crotch, there's a tab here, and there is a slot right where his crotch is. And just kind of tab that in. That'll give him that look. And in terms of transformation, we are done. And before I cover up all of the details that are on his chest, this and head sculpt, this is awesome. I actually think for a modern Dark of the Moon Megatron, this isn't half bad. I don't think it's the best Megatron for Dark of the Moon that we've gotten. I still want to give that to the original Voyager. This isn't terrible, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit more movie accurate, then I would get this one. But if you're looking for something that is fairly accurate and easy to transform, I would go with the Dark of the Moon Voyager, only because that's probably most people's speed. Mainly because that figure is super cool and everything, and it actually and if you have the Age of Extinction evasion mode prime, not the new one, but the original one, the shotgun that comes with that prime, the original evasion mode, works with the original Dark of the Moon Megatron. I think I've said that a few times on my channel. But yeah, here is Megatron in his robot mode. And I honestly can't deny this is a super awesome looking figure. Now, is he the best? No, but he is cool to look at. He's super menacing when he's on the shelf, and he's just, I don't know, he's just awesome to just handle and look at, and not really transform. The transformation is kind of mid, but to be honest, it's a cool looking figure in my opinion. It's really cool. Articulation, like I said before, so for articulation, he's got hinges here at the shoulders, mushroom pegs for the swivels here. He's got a ball joint at the head, so that's pretty good. He's got, I think, universal joints here at the hips, but they are kind of hindered if you have the waist pegged into the crotch, so that is hindered, and just due to his design, it's really hindered for movement. He has a joint here at the knee and then a joint here, so you can get him into, like, you can make him taller if you want, or you can make him squat like I do. I try to make him look like a hermit, like a you know, if you ever heard that term, look like a hunchback hermit. And for the ankles, there's really nothing. It's just due to transformation, but his toes tilt, I guess. And that's pretty much it for articulation for this Megatron. Oh, yeah, double jointed elbows. Sorry about that. So yeah, he's okay. He's decently posable, but he's not like gonna give you like ninja kicks and shit like that. But to be honest, he's meant to just stand there and look menacing like he did in the movie, or actually sit there. He's actually supposed to just stand there and look like an old ass grandpa who can barely move anymore. But we do have his accessories that we still need to add on to him to give him that imposing look that he had in Dark of the Moon. So with the cloak here, now you can see it's a little bit more open and there's a hood here. So what I like to do is this. I like to wrap this part around Meg's, just like that. Kind of see Megatron has the cloak look now, which, that's pretty cool. And if people remember, he did have chains on his torso. And I think, there were some chains on his torso. Now, what I like to do to keep this hoodie in place, or to keep his cloak in place, is basically come around here. You can see there are these little tabs on his back, and that's what these are going to clip onto. There is a certain way you have to do it, so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do it correct on the first try, but I think when it's in this mode, it's not that big of a deal. So, clip that rope there, clip this rope there, then you come here, clip that rope to that section, and the last one's always a bit stretchy, but that's why they made it out of rubber, so it's easy to get a hold of. And there you have Megatron with his cloak and chain attached. And honestly, this looks fairly cool. I think this is why I kind of regard this as one of Hasbro's best Dark of the Moon Megatrons, because yes, in alt mode, it's not a significant upgrade, but in robot mode, I am going to say that this is a significant upgrade for this particular figure, because the original one was rubber, the original cloak was rubber, and personally, I hated that. I couldn't stand that because you could only pose it in one way. This gives you multiple ways to pose the cape or the cloak, whatever you want to call it, and you can hide him in his hoodie. You can hide his face in his hood. I think this is just badass as hell. One of my favorite Megatrons. And then you can give him his shotgun, which can go into this hand, which is what I primarily give him, which is his right hand, and he can walk around. You can do the pose where he's dragging the shotgun out of his back, which is pretty cool. So you can get that shot going. And honestly, this looks cool. I really think that this is a really cool Dark of the Moon Megatron. And if you can find this guy for a good price, complete, even without Igor, it's a pretty cool figure. Igor does have some places that he can tab onto Megatron, but I'm not going to do that because Igor never really climbed on top of Megatron in the film. Maybe that was some concept art stuff or something. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, there is Transformers Studio Series Dark of the Moon Leader Class Megatron. And I can't lie, this is one of my favorite early Studio Series figures. I do hope when Dark of the Moon becomes, 20 years old, that we do get another one. Maybe a potential commander class, but definitely keep the cloth cape or cloak. Keep that, but maybe put some bendy wires in it or something. That would be awesome. And give him a full shotgun. Don't have his hands be made out of rubber. And yeah, that's all I really asked for on the newest one. Or maybe if they ever do this guy again, which I hope they do in about 5 more years. So, there concludes my video review on the Transformers Studio Series Leader Class DOTM Megatron. And I'm honestly happy that I'm finally doing this. I guess I'm finally doing these reviews. But one other thing that you can do with this Megatron is if you raise this guy's thumb, you can see on his left hand there is like a little port. There's a tab here, and you can get him to hold his shotgun in his left hand. You are eligible to do that. But it's a pretty weak connection, and it's not the greatest. So, you know what? For the sake of the outro, I'll leave it there. But yeah, there's Megatron in robot mode and all of his accessories with him. I'm going to admit, for a $50 figure back in 2019, this guy's still worth it for $50. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.